folks, welcome back everybody. I'm TS and the Color Cast is on the air now. It is Wednesday, the 7th of May, 1997. Our old friend Penelope Ann Miller is here tonight. She appears in The Last Dawn on CBS, which, as you all know, is coming up this weekend. And it is critically important to everybody at CBS that you watch this sucker. We spent a lot of money on this, and we're giving it a lot of promotion. We expect some big ratings, and if we don't win the sweeps, it's your fault. Oh. You know, I've had this, you see me doing this all the time. I've got this little, and I'm not going to show this, but I've had this wart here for a year. And I went to the dermatologist in town here about 6 months ago, and for $150, he burned it off. And it's back. And I don't think they have refills down there. Letitia Baldridge is here tonight, and she has a book out talking about etiquette and manners and how we don't teach kids today the way we used to teach kids in my day, how to be polite and how to say, I mean, how many times did my mother say, when somebody gave me an ice cream cone or gave me something, say, what do you say? And you better say thank you or whammo. Now it's, the kids have to have a timeout. In my day, there was no timeout. Before we continue, I have something left over from last night, another Michelle Lee photograph. Here it is, there. This is Michelle Lee, and I believe Dick Van Dyke in the movie The Comic many, many years ago. A picture of Michelle Lee left over from last night. Couldn't get it all in. I went to see Mom today, and one of the nurses at the place where she resides came over and she said, your mother is out of cocktails. I said, well, Mother and I will take a little ride down to the package shop and remedy that situation. So I said, Mom, we're going to go down to the store and replenish your cocktails, your Canadian whiskey. She said, well, that bottle can't be gone already. I said, Mom, it's been down here for like 6 weeks. She said, no, the nurses are drinking that. I'm not drinking that. The nurses are drinking. So we get in the car. It's right near where she lives. We go down to this little store in Culver City. And as I'm getting out of the car, she says, maybe you should get 2 bottles this time. It's a darb, I'll tell you. Yeah. Here is an update. You know, we had Carol Marine on this program on Monday night, who quit on WMAQ TV last week because she did not feel it was proper for Jerry Springer to come on as a news commentator in light of the fact that he does an audacious talk show in the afternoon. When she resigned on the air last Thursday on Channel 5 in Chicago, her rating in that city was 27.4. And when Jerry Springer did his first commentary on Monday night, his rating was 14.8. Robert Fader, writing in the Chicago Sun-Times this morning, says, Springer falls flat. And I understand that there is some dispute as to whether or not the facts, as Springer told them in his commentary on Monday night, are correct. And I'm told that WMAQ pulled his commentary tonight. So it doesn't augur well for Jerry on the news in Chicago, does it? But we have bigger fish to fry. Penelope Ann Miller is here tonight, and that's a very difficult name to say. And Letitia Baldridge. You know, I beg for guests named Jack Smith. And Letitia Baldridge is with us as well tonight. Settle back, fire up the color teenies, and watch the pictures as they fly through the air.
My father, both my brothers, my kids will probably have thinning hair. Losing my hair was probably one of the most traumatic experiences in my life. But the great thing about Rogaine is you can interrupt nature. You can stop it. And Rogaine is proven to work. It goes right to the root to grow hair. About 4 months later, my wife walked by and she just was, hey, wait a second, you're growing hair. And since then, I've stayed with Rogaine, and my hair's really filled in. Check this out. It's great. I'm a user for life.
He's a conservative guy.
This girl loves me.
She's an outrageous woman.
So what'd you do last night?
Got lucky.
It's a comedy match made in heaven.
You know you have no shot at getting her into bed.
Critics say it's hilarious. Chasing Amy. Rated R. Now playing.
Today, you could be almost anywhere in the world, and you could buy almost anything without cash, without a check. Because today, there are better ways to pay. Credit cards, debit cards, and smart cards from MasterCard. MasterCard, the future of money. There could be big money in your future. Look for this image in next week's People magazine. You could win $100,000.
Now through Mother's Day at Zales, see how truly amazing a single diamond can be. The Diamond Solitaire Necklace, the next classic for just $7.99. Visit our stores or on the World Wide Web at Zales.com.
I shall return.
A penny saved is a penny earned.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Need a fast quote?
Ooh, why don't you call me up and ask me sometime?
Just one call to Rodney D. Young, and you'll have a quote on your car insurance right on the spot.
Think young, Rodney D. Young.
For affordable monthly car insurance, call 467-8733.
In the future, there will be an antiperspirant with such strength it delivers the ultimate dryness protection for any man alive. Only it will be for a woman. Well, the future is now. Secret Ultra Dry, a revolutionary pH balance form. State of the art. Goes on dry, vanishes to keep you drier than any other type. Look into the future. Look into Secret Ultra Dry. Strong enough for a man, but with ultra dryness for a woman.
This is good. Who made this?
I did.
You spent all day baking this.
No.
Hold on. This peanut butter filling?
I made it.
This chocolate shell?
I made it.
This cookie crumb crust?
That's mine.
So then you did bake it?
No.
Introducing Jell-O No Bake Peanut Butter Cup. You make it, you don't bake it.
So you did not bake this, right?
Right.
Okay. So then who made it?
I did.
New Jell-O No Bake Peanut Butter Cup. No bake one tonight.
My first guest tonight is Penelope Ann Miller, who has shared the screen with some of the biggest names in Hollywood that include Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. She appeared in films such as The Freshman, Awakening, Carlito's Way, and Kindergarten Cop with Arnold. On May 11th, 13th, and 14th, she's back again in the CBS miniseries The Last Don. It's a pleasure to have you here, and welcome to our program. Have any others ever had trouble, forgive me, with Penelope Ann Miller? If you say it too fast, the N's tend to run together.
Yes, well, I guess you're in good company because Johnny Carson actually, yeah. The first time I ever did one of these shows was doing Johnny Carson, and I'm glad I had the opportunity. However, when he announced me, he called me Penelope. So when I came back, when he came back, he said, "Please forgive me."
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And I said, "That is no problem, Johan." And so I gave him what for. Yes.
Good for you.
So we bonded immediately. Yeah.
It's embarrassing when you do mispronounce somebody's name because it's not done intentionally. You know, I remember when I worked in Philadelphia, I started doing interview programs, and I was interviewing a man named Walter Gold, S-T-E-I-N, and
Right.
always Goldstein, right?
Right. Well, then there's Bernstein.
Right. So I said, "Mr. Goldstein, it's a pleasure to have you here." He said, "Stein." So I've been in trouble with people's names for a long time.
Yeah, I think Leonard Bernstein prefers it to Stein.
When he was alive, he did. Now
so that's his family still.
Right. If one had walked into the Tavern on the Green restaurant in New York about 1982, 83,
Right.
they might have encountered you as the person who brought them their food or showed them to their table. Huh?
Yes, I wore a tuxedo and actually sat the parties to their table.
You'd be like the hostess.
I was
So
the hostess.
Please wait, your
Yes.
hostess will seat you.
Yes, I was a hostess at Tavern on the Green. That was one of my first jobs in New York. Actually, my first job in New York City when I moved there. I was about 18.
And, would you look at the reservations? They always have the thing there, the sheet with the
Yes.
people's names, and then if they had a reservation, you would take them to their table, right?
Right.
And if they didn't have a reservation?
Well, I learned very quickly how to, I guess, encourage those who didn't have a reservation that in order to get a table, that if they sweetened the pot a little bit,
Exactly.
meaning tips, that they would indeed get a table. So I actually was sort of an acting job, really, because I would say hello, and they'd say, "Oh, we don't have a reservation." I'd say, "Oh, really, that's too bad." I'd look at the sheet, and I'd say, "Oh, we're all fully booked.
But let me check.
But you know what? Let me do something for you. You know what? You seem like a nice enough person, and you kind of your eye kind of goes down to the hand and see, do they have a tip? Do they have some money? And you say, but you know what? I'm going to help you out. Let me do something for you. And then you come back, and they give you some money. I mean, that was really the only way I made
understand
money.
that. I understand that.
It sounds horrible.
No, it's not horrible
Very
at all.
manipulative.
It's amazing. I mean,
everybody did it.
I've been in hotels where they've been sold out, and if you present a picture of the President of the United States, and Ben Franklin is a very acceptable photograph at European hotels, Mr. Snyder, we've just had a cancellation. It's
Yes, yes. So it was, it was one way to make money, but luckily I got lucky in show business.
Well, you sure did. In 1984, there you were in 3 deodorant ads, huh?
I was in a band roll-on commercial, yes. That was my one and only commercial. Like I thankfully say, it paid the bills at the time.
And then for a little bit, I know that you appeared on the soap operas. I think you were on Guiding Light for a time.
Yes, I was on the Guiding Light. In fact, I was on the Guiding Light twice. The first year I was a rape victim, and the second year I was a woman dying in the hospital. I don't know how they kept bringing me back, because I was like, and I was perpetually the victim, but somehow, luckily I'm able to disguise myself, I think.
How big a break then in 1985 when you're cast in the Neil Simon production of Biloxi Blues opposite Matthew Broderick? That had to be an enormous stroke of good fortune.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that was truly my big break. I mean, when people talk about their big breaks, that was it. I mean, starring on, co-starring on Broadway in a Neil Simon play opposite a major movie star, Matthew Broderick, and then we won the Tony, that year. And
did you have to read for Neil Simon? Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. In fact, I went in 4 times to read. I first read for the casting director, then I read for Gene Sachs, the director, 2 or 3 times, and then I read for Neil Simon as well.
And after you're into the run for a bit, did you ever have to work with an understudy when Matthew Broderick couldn't make it sometimes?
Yeah, in fact, actually, I went through many Eugenes. His character's name was Eugene, and after Matthew left, he went on to do Ferris Bueller and, other films. There was about 6 other Eugenes that I played with, but one time he actually had to miss a show for something, and an understudy actually came on, and I mean, there are things that happen in the theater, obviously, and certainly with an understudy, he goes up on his lines, and there was actually, fortunately, when he did this understudy go up on his lines, meaning forgot his lines,
right.
We were dancing, and there's supposed to be this
there's the scene there where you're...
we're dancing in a circle. Yeah. So here we were, dancing around, and he wouldn't say his line and wouldn't say his line, and I didn't even remember what it was.
Because he didn't know his line,
Exactly. And the stage manager was in the wings trying to yell it, and he kept going, what? And we kept going in a circle, and then I would go, what? And we'd go in a circle. And then finally, I mean, we were dancing for a good 5 minutes, and the audience probably thought, boy, what a boring dance. They don't say anything.
What are we doing here?
But luckily, we were newly, meeting and falling in love, and it was one of those things where I guess it should be awkward. So it was awkward for a while there. Of course, I was sweating bullets.
I know that feeling, too. Many nights here I do a very fine imitation of Singing in the Rain with Gene Kelly. And did you ever go back to Tavern on the Green without a reservation?
Actually, I did recently. I hadn't been back there for years.
It's a very nice restaurant, by the way.
Yeah, and they have a lot of opening night parties there, for either movies, premieres, or Broadway shows. And I actually went there for a Broadway show premiere, and I hadn't been back there since I actually got fired. And for insubordination to management, I got in a fight with the manager, and it was very, very silly because I wanted to actually have a holiday, which they wouldn't give me. I was working, double shifts, and I wanted to go skiing with my family. So I wrote Warner Leroy. Yes, I know. So I wrote the owner, and he gave me the holiday. So the managers were basically out to get me. They wanted...
Oh, you went around the management to the top guy, right?
Yeah, so they didn't like that. So they were looking to fire me. So basically, I was seating a party from the cocktail lounge, and I was watching. They sometimes have these parties in these other rooms, so I was looking. It was a Mondale for President party. This is dating me. And I'm gaping into the room, and the manager comes up behind me and taps me on the shoulder and says, what are you doing here? Your job's in there. And I thought I wasn't doing anything wrong, and so I seat this party, and I turn around, and he's standing in the exact same position I am, gaping into the party room.
You're the first person I've met in years that used the word gape.
Oh, really?
It's a great word. He gaped at the party. He was there gaping at the party. I love that word.
Yes. Well, anyway, so he was doing the same thing I was. So, of course, I went up to him and tapped him on the shoulder and said, what are you doing in here? Isn't your job in there? And, of course, that was it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah. But I was fortunate because then I got a band roll-on commercial, and then the Guiding Light, and then Biloxi Blues. So I was fortunate. My career took off after that. But anyway, I went back recently, and they had heard me tell this story countless times on different talk shows.
Oh, you
Sorry
told
to
this
say
story.
this wasn't the first time.
Oh, okay.
But,
well, you told it as if you've never told it before.
I'm sure, yeah, right.
And I'm glad you told it here because it gave the public a chance to see it.
Yes, those who haven't seen
Yes.
it. Yeah, so I came back, and the managers who have heard this, all came running up to me and said, we would love to make up for the fact that we fired you, or whatever happened.
Sure.
Now, of course,
sure,
we'll give you a free meal, kind of thing.
Now that you're
A little late.
now that you're starring in The Last Dawn on CBS on the 11th, 13th, and 15th. We,
That's a good plug.
it's the first of many.
Good. We like that.
I know where I'm going with this, believe me. And I know where I'm going if I don't. Yeah. Penelope Ann Miller is here tonight. She's one of the stars, along with Danny Aiello in The Last Dawn. The toll-free is up and running at 800-952-2788. Call quick, and we will reveal the surprise ending. Now these messages.
New Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner is uniquely formulated to instantly release brake dust and road grime, so your wheels will look new, even if your car isn't. Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner outperforms all leading wheel cleaners.
Have you seen the elf? It's hiding behind this card. The elf.
The world's smallest 2-time zoom camera. The big news in the advanced photo system.
Have you seen the elf?
New from Canon.
Millions of roads, lots of surprises. Be prepared with OnStar, the satellite tracking system that can send help in an emergency, unlock doors, even give directions. Get a new Cadillac DeVille, Seville, or Eldorado now, and we'll include the OnStar onboard system, nearly $1,000 value at no extra charge, which should make life a little easier, no matter what road you're on.
It's a killer reunion with Tim Conway and Harvey Korman. Then, it's the murder of Mark Sloan on the explosive season finale of Diagnosis Murder, CBS Thursday.
She could live with a lie.
I knew what you were doing when you left this house with the gun.
She could live with the truth.
You can't make me love you again.
You won't take the kids. But could she live without her children?
Can't have them both, so choose.
I can't choose.
Joe Mantegna, Penelope Ann Miller, in Mario Puzo's The Last Dawn, CBS Sunday.
As a head coach, he's won 3 Super Bowls and 2 national championships, considered by many to be the greatest genius in the game. And today, he's on his way to the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, he locked his keys in the car.
No.
After further review, he decided to make Pop-A-Lock part of his game plan. Locked your keys in the car? Just call the experts. Pop-A-Lock.
One of my friends actually sat me down. It was somebody that I, had cared about and stuff, and they basically said, you're a mess. We don't want to be around you anymore when you're drinking.
There was no stop. It was overboard. Was drinking till I was sick and throwing up and swearing I would never do it again.
Life wasn't fun anymore. I thought it was going to be because of what was in that little bag, but it just didn't have any joy. It had no texture, no taste, no color.
The hardest call you'll ever make is to get help, and the person who answers at Charter knows that, so give us a call.
I knew there was something that could be fixed, and so I chose treatment.
Charter is more than just a hospital. We have lots of treatment options and lots of ways to make them work for you, whether it's days, after work, or on weekends.
I asked for help. Can't do it all myself.
If you have a problem with alcohol or drugs, don't wait to call. And if you don't get help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
With Penelope Ann Miller, here is Zachary on the toll-free in Toccoa, Georgia. Hi, Zach. Welcome to CBS.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning,
Greetings and salutations from your CBS affiliate here in Northeast Georgia.
And what would that station be, sir?
That is WNEG Channel 32.
Nice to be with you. Thank you, Zachary.
Thank you. Ms. Miller, I just wanted to ask you if you could elaborate what it was like to work with Marlon Brando in the movie The Freshman.
Well, it was, of course, very exciting and thrilling because I guess most people, certainly my age, won't have that opportunity. And I
Sadly.
Yes, and I feel that I was incredibly fortunate. We were all afraid that he wouldn't actually make it, but he...
Was there a reason that he might not
Well,
have
I
made
guess, you know, he's an eccentric person, and
I've
you
heard
never
that,
know.
yeah.
And actually, there was one instance where, I mean, the biggest fear was that he would actually start filming, which he did, and he was actually really wonderful, very funny, big prankster. But what he did was he called, the biggest fear was that he would leave and never to return,
Right,
especially
right.
once, you know, some of the film is in the can. So it's hard to reshoot stuff that he's already done. But anyway, he called, and he was on an airplane, and there was a sound of an airplane, and he called the producer, and he said that he was going to Tahiti with Frank Sinatra, and that he was just going for the weekend, but he would be back. And everybody was all up in arms and so scared that, oh no, this is it, he's leaving, he's not going to come back. And he knew this, of course, and later that night at around, you know, 12 or 1, he then called the producer and was laughing and said that it was all a joke, and he'd actually tape recorded the sound of an airplane.
Oh, so
that
he
it
really
sounded
he is
like,
a jokester then, huh?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, he told a story about on The Godfather that apparently Coppola, you know, got in these big bodyguards to carry him on the stretcher when he died, and he was, you know, I guess sort of, you know, joking. I mean, he was sort of insulted in one way, but they thought it was funny in another. So he decided to fill his stretcher with lead weights, so that they actually, when they were trying to pick him up, they really couldn't. So the veins are popping out of his neck, and they couldn't get him, and he, of course, got a big kick out of that.
You know, Zachary, I'm glad you brought that picture up. The scene in that picture where they come upon the dinner where they're going to eat the lizard or the critter.
Komodo dragon, yeah.
And there is Burt Parks singing a song.
Isn't that the
Tequila.
best?
That was an unbelievable scene.
It was great. In fact, Burt Parks and Marlon became very good friends after that.
Oh, he was a great guy, Parks. What
yeah,
oh, man.
really.
What a
and
nifty
Marlon
guy.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great to the crew. He was great to the cast. He was a joy to work with, and I hope I get another opportunity. But it was, in fact, he almost did The Last Don. But for whatever reasons, he ended up not doing it, and now we have Danny Aiello as the Don, who's great. But I almost did work with Marlon again.
Probably because he is so closely associated with The Godfather.
Yeah.
In the 70s films, that to have him come now as The Last Don.
Well, he was all, you know, he wanted to do it. I think it was more of a, you know, money thing. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't get into this. I don't know the real deal, but he was committed initially, yeah.
Okay. Zachary, thanks for calling.
Yeah,
thanks for watching, sir.
Tom, I enjoyed watching Master Control here every night.
Oh, you work at the television station?
I'm looking at you on 5 screens, and Miss Miller, it's a job to envy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zachary, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
And keep us on the air, okay, Zachary?
As long as you take my calls, we'll keep you on the air.
And get the commercials in the right order, okay?
Absolutely, you're in good hands.
All right, good night, Zachary. Thank you.
God bless.
All right, bye-bye. So let's get to The Last Don here. We've put this off long enough. This is big, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly it seems that way. I mean, it's a 3-part, 6-hour
miniseries?
Event, yes, miniseries. It's the 11th, 13th, and 14th,
As
and
I
2
said.
hours each, as you said, yes. And
so big we couldn't show it all in one night, you know?
Exactly, exactly. I'm heavily in the first episode, and partially in the second, but that doesn't mean not to continue watching.
Because you never know when I might come bursting back. That's
exactly.
right.
I may pop up somewhere.
Will your appearance in The Last Don be the same as your appearances here with us tonight? Or do you have different colored hair is what I'm getting at?
Oh, well, actually, yes. In fact, it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because those of you out there who hopefully will be watching The Last Don may not recognize me, because I wear about 3 or 4, it ended up, different wigs. I'm blonde in it, and I'm a Las Vegas showgirl, and I'm sort of heavily made up, and and I go from the 60s to the 80s, so I'm also in period.
Does it bother women who have to change their hair color in a picture? For example, there's this tremendous publicity for this picture, and people may well see you and not recognize you.
Yes, well, I'm on a lot of buses these days,
really?
and I keep noticing myself going by, but of course everyone goes, "That's you?" And I would come on the set sometimes and say hi to the director and the producers and everyone, and they'd say, "Oh, hello," you know, thinking maybe I was an extra or something, and I'd say, "No, it's Penelope, it's me," and they're, "Oh my gosh, I didn't recognize you."
But there is every reason in the world for the television audience to watch this program on the 11th, the 13th, and the 14th.
Yes.
Is there a reason it's not running on the 12th? Oh, Big Comedy Monday.
They didn't want to lose out there Monday night, I guess. I don't know, actually. I really have no idea.
Oh, that's it. Trust me. Big Comedy Monday. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a great time doing. Joe Mantegna.
Oh, the best.
Is in it. I play his wife, and he meets me. I'm a dancer in a show in Las Vegas, and we fall in love, get married, have children,
And you made this show in Toronto, a part of it.
A part of it, yes, was in Toronto. And
I read in one of the papers, the trade papers, that you
I was a hero.
yeah, that you saved a lady's purse or some such
Yes,
thing.
I was involved in my own crime, you know. In fact, I go against the mob in The Last Don, and in fact, I had a taste of crime itself in real life, and I was in Toronto with one of the actors in it, Seymour Cassell.
Oh, surely.
Great actor, and he and I happened to have a day off, and so we were, you know, from the hotel, very nice part of Toronto, which is known for being incredibly clean and crime-free.
That's right.
And we decided to go on a little shopping spree, and we're walking up Yonge Street, I believe it is, which is a major thoroughfare, and I noticed Seymour's telling me some story, and we're walking casually up the street, and I noticed a guy across the street who's looking very suspicious to me. He was kind of nicely dressed, but sort of at a nice jog and kind of looking behind him, and he looked very suspicious to me, so I kept watching him, and all of a sudden I realized why, because he wasn't running towards something, and he wasn't, you know, it just seemed a little, and he hadn't...
You could tell something was
up.
untoward, right. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. I mean, you weren't gaping at him.
No, I wasn't attracted to him.
Right.
No, he looked suspicious.
Out of the corner of your eye.
Yes,
right.
and actually, indeed, he then ran up to this woman and grabbed her purse, so I yelled, "Stop him!" And Seymour thought I was talking about his story, so he thought, was it that bad? So I said, no, he's got a purse. He's got the woman's purse. So Seymour goes across the street. The guy's crossing the street, and Seymour's ready to tackle him, and I was very impressed with Seymour. And then, of course, the guy pulls out a knife, and he starts jabbing at him. Then I realize, and then he continues to run, and I realize that I have a one of those cell phones. So I think, oh, call 911. So I'm running down the street going, well, now we're at such and such street in this corner, and he's down that street. And
so the wind-up is you got the lady's purse back.
He finally dropped the purse, but he did get in the getaway car. And but I felt like, you know...
Hey, you had your moment as, you know...
Well, Seymour, I have to say.
Penelope Ann Miller, crime fighter on the streets of Toronto, right?
Yeah, maybe next I'll be in, like, some detective action thing.
Or Wonder Woman, who knows? We will continue with Penelope Ann Miller and you on the toll-free as time permits. I'm Tom. This is CBS.
The morning begins at sleepy pace, coffee telling you not to race, breakfast blend, something new, mountain grown aroma coming through.
Where is he? I better go check.
Folgers Coffee House Breakfast Blend, a new variety of mountain-grown aroma and flavor. Amazingly smooth yet full-bodied, a taste of unhurried times.
I better go check.
The best part of waking up, Folgers in your cup.
I better go check.
Hey, bubblegum blowers. Know how you love the classic flavor of extra classic bubblegum? Now the flavor lasts longer than ever. So you can enjoy blowing lots of extra bubbles. How many extra?
25 extra.
31 extra.
The flavor and the bubbles go on and on.
15 extra.
33 extra. So, remember, try extra classic bubblegum. Why? Now the flavor you love lasts longer than ever.
Hey, help me figure this out. Usually the more gizmos you want, the more money you gotta spend. Then there's a Chevrolet Cavalier. It gives you a lot of the same gizmos that make expensive cars easy to live with, for about half the price. If you forget to lock your doors, the Cavalier is still protected by a gizmo called a theft deterrent system. If you leave your dome light on, it turns it off. My house doesn't even do that. Get the car that's easy to own, a Cavalier. Genuine Chevrolet. The cars more Americans trust.
Friday, the shocking conclusion of Knots Landing.
Everyone's a suspect. Why did you lie?
I'm not lying.
You have to tell them the truth.
Maybe I did kill him.
All the secrets are revealed.
I don't want anything I'm doing to be public knowledge.
We have to go to the police.
Just let it lie.
Don't miss the conclusion of Knots Landing, CBS, Friday.
Join guest angel Bill Cosby.
Bad things happen. They happen.
For an extraordinary hour of television. Touched by an Angel. CBS Sunday.
Life is complex. Jell-O vanilla pudding isn't, which is what I like about it. Just unadulterated, uncomplicated vanilla gliding over the tongue. So smooth and pure and relaxing. Your mouth wants to hang on to it a little longer. It reminds me of a simpler time, like, say, before the kids got home today.
Jell-O vanilla pudding, as smooth as ever.
I've known Sam since we both had hair. Some days his hands hurt to where he can barely tie his shoes. Oh, he'd take 2 Tylenol, but hours later he'd be hurting again. He'd have to take more. He got fed up, so his doctor said try a leave.
I can take just 2 Aleve all day. Tylenol was taking up to 8.
So he tried a leave. Keeps his pain away up to 12 hours.
What more could you ask for?
A little more hair?
Aleve. All day strong, all day long.
70 trucks, 10,000 tons of equipment, the biggest television screen in the entire universe, and one 50-foot lemon running wild and free. What's going on here? Is this Mega Pop or Megalomania as Pop Mart takes on Zoo TV for the heavyweight championship of the world? U2's Pop Mart Tour, bad craziness, and a stadium near you.
Monday, May 12th, Cotton Bowl Stadium. Tickets on sale now. Call to charge.
You know, in the break, I was remarking that it might have been helpful if we had, since we talked about the wigs that you wear in The Last Don, which appears on this network on the 11th, 13th, and 14th. And I was told we had no pictures, and I threatened to put up a Michelle Lee picture and just say it was you.
Yes, and I quickly ran out and went home and came back.
And came back, though, with this lovely picture of you and Joe Mantegna as seen, and there you are. And while we can tell it's you, your appearance is markedly different from that which it is tonight. Not that you don't look wonderful tonight, and that you didn't look fine in that picture over there.
Well, thank you. But now people recognize
There
me
you go. And,
in the last one.
I want to ask you here about a picture you made with De Niro, which touched me and a lot of people. It was called Awakening, okay? And before that picture, you were nervous, I read, about meeting De Niro and auditioning for him, and you talked about this with Bruno Kirby when you and Kirby were making
The Freshman.
The Freshman that we've talked about.
Yeah, actually, the first time I met Robert De Niro, it was for another film. And of course, you know, it's nerve-wracking to audition in the first place.
Sure it is. Very
Then
difficult,
to audition for Robert De Niro
Is that tough?
Well, I mean, I try not to be... In fact, generally, I don't get intimidated, but, you know, it's still one of those awkward situations. But, and then it's somebody you really admire and respect and who's this great actor that you've watched, you know, my whole life. And so when I went in to read, he actually, you know, was looking down at the page the whole time and didn't look up at me. So I thought he hated me. I thought he thought that I was terrible, and this was his sign to the director or whoever that
he was not interested or
he was
not impressed.
Interested.
What wasn't moving him, whatever.
Whatever. So, of course, you know, I left this audition in tears and, you know, felt like he hated me and that, you know, that
It was over. You weren't going to get the part, right.
And then I went later to do this film, The Freshman, and Bruno Kirby was in it, and Matthew Broderick. Once again, I worked with him. And then they were auditioning for Awakenings, and they wanted me to come to New York and read for Robert De Niro once again. And I said, well, I can't. He hates me. I mean, I had this horrible experience where, you know, he didn't look up from the page when I was reading opposite him. And then Bruno says, no, you don't understand. Bobby,
Bob, yeah.
Bob, he likes to be called Bob, is painfully shy. And that, if anything, it was just, he was probably more nervous than you were. So I thought, oh, how endearing. You know, I felt sorry for him. I mean, I felt like, you know, that was something that I could relate to and sympathize with.
The scene in that picture where he dances and he stops shaking, it tears me apart every time I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I cried in the scene, and I still cry when I watch it.
Yeah, it's a remarkable piece of work, a remarkable piece of work. And the person who directed that picture
Penny
gets
Marshall.
Patty Marshall gets
Penny.
Marshall gets
Which is my nickname, by the way.
far too little credit.
Yeah, I think she did a remarkable job. I also think that Robin Williams was also
remarkable
in that picture because
The whole cast
if you
was good.
knew Oliver Sacks, who this story was based
The
on,
doctor,
a true
right,
story,
yeah.
and you'd met him, what Robin Williams did in that film was identical to the way this man is in life. And he was so withheld. I mean, he held, you know, because Robin is known to be sort of, you know, very comedic actor, and he really held back, and it was a subtle performance, but it was beautiful.
I think about pictures that could not have been made if Robin Williams had not been in those pictures. Good Morning Vietnam could never have been made without Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Awakenings could not have been made without Robin Williams. The Dead Poets Society could never have happened.
Well, Birdcage, I thought
yeah.
he was wonderful in. But anyway, the whole thing, going back to the Awakenings audition, is I finally went back in and read with De Niro, and now that I knew he was shy, I, of course, was, you know, overtly friendly. I was like, hey, how you doing, Bob?
How are you?
Patting on the back.
Bob, how are you?
Bruno, Kirby, you know, we're, you know, and he then warmed up and became very jovial, and, you know, and luckily I got the part. So it actually helped to have that piece of information, but you never know.
Thanks for your good work in so many pictures and plays that we've seen, and we'll all be watching The Last Don here on CBS on Sunday, and then again Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Thank you, Penelope.
Thank you very much.
My great
for
pleasure.
having me.
Penelope Ann Miller is the guest, and The Last Don will be on the air on Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week here on CBS, and then it'll be available in home video, just in case. Next, Letitia Baldridge, what's polite and what's not after these messages.
They said we couldn't create a low-fat ice cream delicious enough to be called Haagen-Dazs, but we did it. Introducing Haagen-Dazs low-fat ice cream. Everything you want with just 3 grams of fat per serving. It's just perfect.
Sunflower's fragrance from Elizabeth Arden. A celebration of life. A fun summer gift with any $28 Sunflowers purchase. Now at the Elizabeth Arden counter.
I was born active. Motor's always running, if you know what I mean. So to stop smoking, the patch was not for me. Too passive, too rigid. With Nicorette gum, I get to do something. I participate in my own survival, fight my own cravings. Nicorette and I hit them before they hit me. I was busy smoking. Now I'm busy not smoking. Works out pretty good.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Tonight on The Late Show, comic gem Billy Crystal, Third Rock's Kristen Johnston, and the Bee Gees.
Talk about a good gig.
Only on CBS.
On America's Night of Television. A violent culture clash.
Sonny, stop!
Incites an uprising. An explosive new Dr. Quinn. Then, on a special Saturday Angel.
They shouldn't be allowed to live here.
These are people. Chris Burke is touched by an angel. CBS Saturday.
So, you think you gotta go to the gym to keep in shape? You may be getting more of a workout than you know. That's why you need the refreshment of Crystal Light. Our new raspberry tea is icy, crisp, with the taste of sun-ripened raspberries, but only 5 little calories. So, whatever you do to keep in shape, keep doing it. New Crystal Light fruit teas. Treat yourself right.
This precision instrument must search for tenacious deposits that cling perilously close to your fragile gums. The procedure for gingivitis. Fortunately, gingivitis may be avoided. Use Listerine. Gum disease is caused by germs. Listerine kills them. It's the brand, the only brand, clinically proven to help prevent gingivitis. All procedures should be as easy as this, the power of prevention. Listerine.
Letitia Baldridge has been America's arbiter of manners ever since she served as social secretary in the White House during JFK's time there. She has written a number of books on how to behave, the most recent being geared towards children. It is called More Than Manners, Raising Today's Children to Have Good Manners and Good Hearts. It's a pleasure to welcome you back. I checked your webpage today on the internet.
Oh, Tom,
at
that's
www.letitia.com.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I got the tip of the week, which is what to do when people talk behind your back.
Well, people do that, too.
Well, give the tip to everybody that doesn't have the computer.
Well, if people are talking behind your back and you know who's doing it, it can hurt you and harm you forever. So what you do is you take action, but you take polite, smart action. You go and draw that person aside, take that person into an empty office or an empty room and say, hey, listen, I like you and I know you're a great person. I know you don't mean to hurt me, but you're hurting me terribly. I've heard what you've said, and I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't do that anymore because I'd like to have you as a friend. You disarm them, not by getting into their face, but by saying, hey, you're hurting me. People don't want to hurt.
Right. And if it keeps up, I'm going to kick you right in the crotch.
Well, I'll call you, Tom, to give that additional.
What makes you crazy in everyday life? Things that happen to you where people are rude, disrespectful, don't have manners. What makes you think, what's the matter with those people?
Well, they're not aware. If you say thank you to them, they don't even look at you. If you hold open the door, they sail through it and don't say thank you. And what I hate are the people who are in the elevator. They can easily put their finger on the hold button. Down the hall struggles an old man carrying 4 suitcases, and he's puffing and panting. He's got to make that elevator.
Right.
And they wait until it gets right. He gets there, and it closes on his nose, and nobody pushes the button to hold it open. We're not kind anymore.
But you know something, Letitia? They don't think they're being rude. They don't think they're doing anything
wrong. They don't
wrong.
know it. That's right. Mama and Papa have not taught them when they were little kids.
If I call somebody and it's the wrong number, I say, I'm terribly sorry to have bothered you. It takes only a second, and they say, why, it's no problem. Huh?
They always smile, even if you got them out of the shower.
Right.
They say it's okay. But most people just angrily slam the phone down when they dial the wrong number, blaming you for it being a wrong number.
And how about on the highway? Aren't we become monsters behind the wheels of our cars.
We have become, it really shows the state of society today, the way we drive on the highways. Really the terrifying danger of the rudeness on highways. And people listening, talking on their cellular phones when they don't have any connection, they're just trying to impress people. And people, no signals, taking each other's parking places. I mean, I have myself just recently parked up ahead and waited 5 minutes for the person behind me to get out.
Oh, sure, we all done that, sure.
And as that car got out, another car just came up at that moment, went right in. I'm not supposed to beat the person up or swear, so I didn't, but I felt like it.
You know, there's a story of a lady of our age who's driving a Rolls Royce, and she's waiting for a parking place. And a young kid in an MG zips in and takes the parking place. He gets out of the car and he says to the lady, he says, you know, when you're young and fast, you can do what I just did. So she takes the Rolls Royce and backs it up, and she absolutely demolishes the MG. She says, you know, when you're old and rich, you can do what I just did.
That's superb. Whether it happened or not, it's superb.
What about manners that you perceive in the White House or in public places today as compared to the time that you served with Mr. Kennedy in the White House? What's different now?
Well, we've become terribly informal. We don't have the manners. We don't observe the rules of etiquette, but even worse, we're just not kind to one another. And you look at the White House today, people come late for dinner. It's sacred that you arrive 5 minutes before you're supposed to at the White House for dinner. It says black tie, and women come in cocktail dresses. They don't come in ball gowns that they're supposed to. Men will wear a black suit instead of a black dinner jacket, and they just put on a black bow tie.
But I can hear the Generation Xers watching this program saying, well, what's the difference? These are little things. So we're 5 minutes late. So I wear a cocktail dress instead of an evening dress. Why is that such a big deal?
Well, because the panorama is beautiful. When everybody's properly dressed, it's a marvelous scene, a mise en scène. It's beautiful. And if people go to a restaurant and everyone's all dressed up in an expensive restaurant and you're eating wonderful food, if somebody comes in dressed like a slob, immediately the restaurant loses its beauty. We need every bit of beauty we can get. And the White House used to be a place where there was always beauty and where everybody looked their best. Now they don't even know how to look their best. We've dumbed down. We have dressed down Fridays, and it's now spread to Mondays and Sundays. We don't know how to get dressed up anymore. And that's sad, because it really makes, when you get dressed up and you make an effort to look your most attractive, you are your most attractive. You give. Everyone gives, and the whole place is electric with excitement.
I'm thinking about the Kennedy name now and the Kennedy name when you worked with Mr. Kennedy in the White House. I mean, the marriage annulment, and now the one accused with the, I mean, these Kennedys could do very well to read your book.
I know, and it's very sad. You know, it's a terrible responsibility to have the name Kennedy because everyone's watching you and hoping you fall, but it's no excuse for bad behavior. It's no excuse.
I have to pause here for commercials. My guest is dear Letitia Baldridge. Her book is called More Than Manners. There are more words than that, but that's all I have time to say at this second. The toll-free is up and running, and we'll continue after this break. Now, you see...
We're almost ready. Go get the cones.
Your favorite, roughage.
Don't put up with over-frozen ice cream. Maytag's exclusive new dual-cool refrigerator keeps its cool perfectly, so you can keep yours. Another great idea from Maytag, the dependability people.
It keeps millions of Americans glued to their TVs every night. It's not the game shows, reruns, or the news. It's because they suffer from not sleeping, and they believe there is nothing they can do about it. But there are new ways to treat their problem, and newer prescription medications that can help.
Maybe we should see the doctor.
Sleep. It doesn't have to be a dream.
On March 16th, folks from Saturn got up a little earlier than usual. See, it was our chance to watch the cars we built here arrive on the other side of an ocean. 10 years ago, we all knew it was a risk, building a new American car. It was pretty much sink or swim. I guess you could say we just swam all the way to Japan.
Peppermint, winter green,
Through Mother's Day, for just $99, you can get this exclusive Zales keepsake box that comes with potpourri sachets, a beautiful diamond heart pendant, and a really big hug from your mom. Visit our stores or on the World Wide Web at Zales.com.
Our florists use a special 10-step freshness care system. At 1-800-FLOWERS, we can guarantee your arrangements will stay fresh for a week. When people tell us we're fresh, we say thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Borda, and Channel 11 is looking out for our community through a special program called Channel 11 Charities. Children enjoy outdoor activities, and kids with chronic illnesses or major physical disabilities are no different. Special camps for special kids provides a place where these children can enjoy sports, friendship, and more in a natural setting. The staff at Camp John Mark helps these kids to learn to overcome obstacles. Channel 11 Charities. It's one more way the Eye of Texas is looking out for you.
Here is Kelly on the toll-free with Letitia Baldridge in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Kel.
I'm a big fan of yours, by the way.
Thank you very kindly.
My question is it proper to keep the ring if the man breaks off the engagement for a wedding?
I'm sure you've never been asked this before.
I've asked it a lot. You bet it's proper for her. If she breaks off the engagement, she should give it back. But otherwise, she's got it for life.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure, Kel.
Okay, good. I'm taping this.
Wait a minute. You're not using this in a court of law, are you, Kelly? It's not admissible.
I possibly am. So I really appreciate it.
Can I ask you a question? Is there somebody you know that's involved in this situation?
Okay, it's me.
Oh, it is.
You're not the one who lost her fiancé in the air crash, are you?
Oh, no, nothing like
Good, good.
No, nothing like that.
And do you ever get over to the Tulip Festival over there in Holland, Michigan, nearby?
I haven't for a couple of years, but it's this weekend.
Oh, good. Well, go and take the ring and smile.
Well, can I say one thing about the ring?
Sure.
One additional thing. If the ring is a family heirloom and was a precious family heirloom, give it back, but he should give you another one in exchange.
Right. Yeah, family heirloom, right.
Yes.
Okay, well, he said it was.
It was a family heirloom?
So he said.
Yeah, so
well,
he
then,
said.
then go down to the jeweler with him and pick out another ring to replace it, and you give him back the old one.
Of equal value.
Yes.
Or more.
Or more.
Right.
And can I sell it?
Yes, can she sell
Well,
it?
sure. It's your property, you bet. It's payment for having loved him all during
Why
that
not,
time.
Kelly, just get the cash, and then you don't have to go buy the damn ring, you know? Determine what you want and say, I'll give you back the heirloom, and you give me $5,000 or whatever it is the amount.
It was $3,000.
Well, $3,000. Call me Fisher for $2. Take care, Kelly.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to buy the book for sure now.
Okay, well, you'll have the money soon. All right.
You'll have the $23 soon.
Yes. All right, thank you so much.
All right, good night, Miss Kelly.
All right, good night.
You worked with a woman that I interviewed only once in my life.
Claire Booth Luce?
Claire Booth Luce at her home in Kahala, Hawaii.
Hawaii.
She came to the door wearing an elegant dress with a parrot sitting on her left shoulder.
I know. That was one of her marvelous stage affectations. It was so effective.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And we went
Yeah.
into her bar, and we had some vodka. And she had two pillows on her sofa that I've never forgotten. One said, how wonderful to rest, how wonderful to do nothing and rest afterwards. And the other has stayed with me for my life, no good deed goes unpunished.
She started that. She was the first one to originate that. It's a cynical remark, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does, it helps you go on being charitable and giving to people, but you don't expect anything in return.
Mm-hmm.
She taught me that.
How was she to work with?
She was fabulous. She
bet.
was brilliant. She was a role model, a mentor. She told me when I was asked to write my first book, and I said, I can't do it. She said, listen, anyone can write a book who knows how to apply the seat of the pants to the seat of the chair. She put a sign up in calligraphy over my typewriter because my office was so messy, and she said, a dirty desk is a sign of a dirty mind. I mean, she had such pizzazz and such a marvelous sense of public relations and fun and humor. And he was there 9 months of the year.
Oh,
Henry Luce.
In Rome. She was our ambassador to Italy.
Rome. And it was just one of the most exciting periods. I was so young, and here were all the President of the United States and Nasser and Margot Fontaine and Eleanor Roosevelt and William Faulkner all coming in and out. I mean, it was an unbelievable time in my life.
Did you get into trouble at all? I remember reading that you one time in Paris, you got into terrible trouble when you were working at our embassy in Paris because you... tell that one and then the...
I'm the queen of the faux pas. That's how I can tell other people how to get out of it.
Yeah.
We had a very important dinner at the embassy residence. The Bruces did not check my seating plan because they were late in coming back from Germany because of weather. They arrived at the residence when the guests were being brought into dinner. They were very late. I had managed to seat a top French Foreign Office official next to his wife's lover. We had a lot of extra men. I had to seat men. And everyone in the dining room thought it was an act done consciously by Ambassador Bruce to embarrass the French government. So the ambassador, when he saw what I'd done, he got up and had to reseat the dinner, the top two men, because he couldn't let them sit next to
Oh, no.
one another. There
No,
was
no.
a well-known fact. One of them had even challenged the other to a duel in 1946. So that was one of my first faux pas. I was forgiven because I was young. I'd only been in Paris for 3 months, and I didn't know who was leaving with whom.
Sure. It's good to know that, isn't it?
It's good to know that if you're going to be working for people like that.
Yeah.
And then in Rome, I continued my great, marvelous capacity for making errors by introducing, at the height of the wars between India and Pakistan on their borders, I introduced the new ambassador from Pakistan to the entire diplomatic corps as the new ambassador from India.
Oh, man.
He left the embassy so fast. Claire Luce came over to me and said, listen, well, Henry Luce came over to me and said, you know how to start a war all by yourself. And then Claire Luce came over and said, you did this, it's your fault, you get yourself out of it.
Uh-huh.
So I tried for days. He wouldn't talk to me, the Pakistan ambassador. He wouldn't answer my phone calls, acknowledge my letters, and finally I sent him a dozen red roses. He called me up right away and said, I cannot resist a young woman who sends me red roses. And I've been sending them to apologize ever since.
That's a good idea, isn't it?
Tom, I'm just telling you, it's good. It's more effective if you're a woman to send red roses, but they always work.
I am so glad to see you again. It's been too long, and I wish you great success with your book and much happiness in your life, and I hope you'll come back and visit us.
I wish it for you, too.
Thank you, my friend. Letitia Baldridge is the guest. Her book is called More Than Manners, Raising Today's Children to Have Kind Manners and Good Hearts. Back with a program reminder after this short break. You are...
My daughter's cut was tiny, so all I did was wash it. But then it got all red, and when it started to swell, the doctor said I needed to bring Jill in right away.
To help prevent infection, even the smallest cuts need Neosporin. Compared to some store brands, Neosporin has an extra active ingredient to kill more strains of infectious bacteria. And new Neosporin helps cuts heal even faster than before.
I will never leave another cut untreated.
Use new, faster healing Neosporin. Every cut, every time.
If you're serious about walking, Just for Feet has a VIA 388 walking shoes. If you're serious about cross-training, Just for Feet offers a VIA 1821 cross-trainers. And if you're serious about aerobics, Just for Feet has the VIA 650 and 699 aerobic shoes. If you're serious about athletic shoes. All with cantilever shock absorption for added stability at Just for Feet with the 13 pairs free.
The typical American home before Mother's Day. The same home after Mother's Day. As you can see, giving the gift of Toro outdoor lighting can make all the difference. It adds beauty and makes any home safer and more secure. What's more, it's inexpensive and easy to install. So this Mother's Day, give Toro outdoor lighting. You'll find Toro outdoor lighting available at these retailers.
Mike, what are we shooting for our next TV commercial? I've got a crew waiting.
Jim, I think we should talk about personalized memories.
Everybody already knows how terrific that is. I think we have to talk about all the other great departments we have here at MJ Designs. You know, like our floral department.
That's good. How about our framing and art?
Best custom frames at the lowest possible prices.
And don't forget our rubber stamps.
You know there really is something for everyone at MJ Designs. Mike, we have to find a way to tell the people.
I think we just did.
Oh.
I only made one mistake tonight. Patty Marshall. I meant to say Penny, and Patty slipped out. Just a little tiny mistake, just a small one. Tomorrow night, Kate Mulgrew will be here, and then Huey Lewis and the News. And this is a first for us, because Huey Lewis and the News will be performing on this program tomorrow night. Now, we don't have a band. This is a cappella, right? Yeah. But this has been months in the making, carefully rehearsed. It'll be on the air tomorrow night, Huey Lewis and the News. Now stay with Steve Mason on the Late Late Radio Show. You can find Steve tonight at 1-800-890-9990. And remember, by the time you make ends meet, they move the ends. Back tomorrow night, same time, same station. Sleep tight, Americans.
Big Tobacco may be under fire at home, but it's making big money overseas. How? Wait till you hear what their warning labels say. Tobacco under fire tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
A DA framed for murder, but will Chuck Norris find the real killer?
Somebody's constructed a very tight little scenario.
We'll just have to untighten it. All New Walkers, CBS Saturday.
Lasers, holograms, virtual reality. It's Liquid Vision, an exhibit of amazing new technology. Managing that technology, Sean Kozak, DeVry graduate.
6 million people will come to experience these high-tech exhibits. It's up to me to make sure they're not disappointed. With the broad understanding of technology I gained at DeVry, it's kid stuff.
At DeVry, you work with technology. Your education is current.
This is about as much fun as work gets.
For a higher degree of success, call DeVry, 1-800-247-7800.
drugs and the alcohol replace all the love and the affection that I was looking for. I was just dangling.
When you need help, Charter is here, and you can call us anytime. Charter is more than just a hospital. We have lots of treatment options and lots of ways to make them work for you, whether it's days, after work, or on weekends.
I can look at myself and say, hey, I am somebody.
If you have a problem with alcohol or drugs, don't wait to call. If you don't get help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
Airline travel tips, 6 to 8 a.m. Thursday.
The following is a paid program. This program and the views expressed therein do not necessarily represent the views of KTVT, Gaylord Broadcasting Company, or Gaylord Entertainment Company.